The ticking of a watch, the pulse of life. This is the sound of the traditional springs and pendulums of a mechanical watch as they keep the time. Dependable for life, these watches bring their owners both satisfaction and pleasure. There are a group of men who have dedicated their lives to the art of watchmaking. They are the independent watchmakers who create their own designs, unaffiliated with any manufacturer. Producing only a few watches a year by hand, these independent artisans hold a special place among accomplished watchmakers known as cabinetiers. Their polished skills are evident as they work within the body of the watch, a space just 30 millimeters wide. To capture this microscopic world, a high-powered macro lens for photography has been modified and fit on a high-vision camera, the first setup of this kind in the world. This tiny part is just 3 millimeters wide. A hole no larger than the tip of a needle is polished with a special file. The camera focuses on an area just 1 millimeter high and 2 millimeters wide. More than 100 minute parts are assembled inside the watch. Skills are pushed to the limit in an effort to create the world's most beautiful watch. A groove is carved between tiny holes to be filled with diamonds. There is no room for mistakes. Traditions of manual work that have been carefully preserved. The result is a watch brimming with warmth. The watch expresses the cabinetier's desire to create a timepiece that will last for eternity. These are the previously unseen microcosms of the watchmaker. Switzerland's second largest city, Basel, found in the north near the borders of Germany and France. Each spring, visitors from around the world pour into the city. The crowds are headed for the Basel Fair, the world's largest exhibition of watches. In a space twice the size of a stadium, watches from more than 2,195 manufacturers from 40 countries are on display, carefully inspected by buyers and media. This exhibit belongs to the world's largest group of watch manufacturers. Manufacturers compete to announce new product releases and attract the attention of customers and media. The Basel Fair is the chance for watchmakers to promote their technical and creative skills on the world stage. The heart of a mechanical watch. The balance wheel swings the pendulum at high speeds. As its rhythm is passed to the gears, 1 second elapses. This basic principle behind a watch has been used for over 300 years. There is one exhibit at the Basel Fair that attracts a lot of attention year after year. It's the exhibit belonging to the independent watchmakers. This year, 18 members are displaying their work. These watchmakers manage all their work themselves, from design to production, and sell their watches under their own names. They are so-called masters of time. They produce only a few watches per year, and buyers can be made to wait over 2 years for one of their pieces. The name of the watchmaker is proudly engraved on each watch. Among these watchmakers is a man said to have the hands of God, Antoine Preziuso, 45 years old. He is known as the most successful cabinetier among the 30 or so independent watchmakers. This is his latest work, Stardust Tourbillon. His aim in this piece was to make the world's most beautiful watch. Expressing an image of stardust, the watch is covered in over 2,000 of the world's smallest cut diamonds. A limited edition of one, the watch is priced at approximately $595,000 US. Another of his works, Opus 2. A tourbillon crafted to tell perfect time is matched with a perpetual calendar on the reverse. Watches from this limited edition of 12 are priced at nearly $465,000 US.
Pour moi, une montre, ce n'est pas uniquement un objet. C'est un ensemble de petites pièces mécaniques auxquelles on leur apporte la vie. Tout ensemble vont faire que la partie principale, le cœur de la montre, va se mettre à battre. Et il n'y a rien de plus beau de voir cette montre vivre et vous donner l'heure.
The most respected among the watchmakers is a man known as the cabinetier of cabinetiers, Philippe Dufour, 54 years old. He single-handedly creates almost all the parts for his watches and assembles them as well.
There's the 34 and now I have the 37.
Yeah, I think it's better. It fits.
He is exhibiting a design called Simplicity. As the name suggests, the watch is a basic design free of any special features. What is the fundamental nature of a watch? Returning to the basics, Dufour strove to create a watch that would last for eternity. He imagined a watch that an owner would grow a strong attachment to, as it was used year after year.
Puis chaque matin, quand il la remonte, et chaque matin, quand il a sa montre ici, il lui donne un petit coup d'œil, il la remonte, il la met à son poignet, il se fait plaisir, il est content pour toute la journée. Donc il y a une relation entre l'homme et sa montre. Voilà. Entre cette
What kind of work must these master watchmakers, Dufour and Preziuso, have undertaken in preparation for this year's Basel Fair?
That's it, and he's one of the younger participants on the forum, and he came from New York City today.
This is the workshop of independent watchmaker Philippe Dufour. From design to production, Dufour does all his work himself and is truly a lone cabinetier. He is working on a design called Simplicity, intended to be an everlasting watch. To ensure the durability, he is using thicker parts. Parts are crafted from a block of German silver, a very durable material.
coupe des rondelles, comme du salami.
Most manufacturers and watchmakers use prefabricated parts from parts manufacturers and create their watches through the division of labor. However, Dufour does everything by hand from start to finish, cutting out the parts himself. There are 125 parts in simplicity. He is cutting out the teeth of a gear. This well-used machine is more than 70 years old. For over 20 years, Dufour has remained committed to doing his work by hand. In 1992, he released the Grand and Petite Sonnerie Minute Repeater watch, which chimes the hours as they pass. It was the first wristwatch of its kind. The watch was awarded the gold medal in the technical category at the Basel Fair, making the name of Philippe Dufour famous around the world. From design to production, he dedicated 3 years to the creation of the watch. Duality, released in 1996. It was highly applauded and called a groundbreaking mechanism. Philippe Dufour was born in 1948. His parents both worked for a manufacturer of watch parts. He was the second son of 4 children. Whereas his older brother continued on to high school, Dufour entered the local watchmaking school after completing junior high school in order to learn a trade. He graduated in 1967 and began work with a major manufacturer. However, a dark shadow soon fell across the Swiss watchmaking industry. In 1969, Japan introduced the first commercially viable quartz watch. These inexpensive yet accurate quartz watches took the world market by storm. The Swiss watchmaking industry, which had firmly ruled the production of mechanical watches, began to collapse. With massive layoffs, a workforce of nearly 90,000 was cut down to 30,000. In the struggle to survive and change with the times, the watchmaking industry reduced the production of mechanical watches, continuing cutbacks. Dufour, who was working in production at the time, was frustrated as he watched the dedication to handmade quality slip away. It was at this turning point in history that Dufour got married. He was 24 years old and had growing dreams of one day making watches of his own. Even when spending the day in his workshop, Dufour returns home for lunch. On his way, he stops at the factory of a major watch manufacturer. This is his eldest daughter, Magali.
No?
She has been working as a watchmaker for 2 years. Dufour is hoping she can assist him in his work in the future. This is his wife, Dominique.
Servez-vous.
Today's lunch is raclette, a Swiss family meal made by melting cheese.
Santé, Philippe. Santé. Santé, Magali. Tu veux pas? T'as entendu les informations?
Dufour has 3 daughters and had given up on the idea of keeping his business in the family. So Magali's decision to become a watchmaker took him by surprise. Dufour works hard to preserve the lessons the watchmakers of the Joux Valley have learned from nature. How do the parts change once they've been polished? This is the part prior to polishing. It's been completely transformed. During mass production, this polishing is done by machine. But without the human touch, it's impossible to finish the corners so beautifully. Dufour's work continues late into the night. The Basel Fair is just 2 months away. In Dufour's hands, simplicity, a watch to last for eternity, gradually begins to take shape. Mechanical clocks were originally large mechanisms made for churches and clock towers. Even now, many major watch manufacturers locate their headquarters in Geneva. In the suburbs of the city is found the workshop of one cabinetier. Antoine Preziuso is known as the most successful of the independent watchmakers. After graduating from the prestigious Geneva Watchmaking School with top honors, he secured a job with a long-standing manufacturer of luxury watches where he polished his skills. His extreme precision has led him to be known as having the hands of God. He left his job with the manufacturer in 1993 at the age of 36 to start his own brand. His novel designs that combine complex functionality with artistic beauty have drawn great recognition. He is one cabinetier who is closely watched each year in anticipation of what new creations he will reveal. As opposed to Philippe Dufour's independent style, Preziuso works with a team of watchmakers.
belle histoire, un joli
He is
concept,
planning to announce 2 pieces at the upcoming Basel Fair.
un joli dossier.
These are the concept drawing for one of his designs, Opus
On a
2.
une belle étude aussi, hein.
His idea
On
is
va
to
voir
blend
2
ultimate
belles
beauty
aiguilles.
with complexity.
On va voir un
Once
beau
complete,
mécanisme.
each
Et
watch will
derrière
fetch
la montre,
approximately
on va découvrir,
$465,000
on va
US dollars.
construire un calendrier perpétuel.
Prezioso has partnered with the young and energetic metalworker in his attempt to realize his vision of the most beautiful watch in the world. He is preparing the watch case for the addition of the diamonds. The holes for the diamonds are just 1/2 millimeter wide. He creates a groove between them. With this expensive platinum, one slip and all his work will be in vain. As if connecting the holes together, he also carves grooves between them horizontally and vertically. He prepares each hole one by one. Through the macro lens, we can see that 6 points of metal have been created around each hole. These 4 corners will become the claws that hold the diamond in place. The world's smallest cut diamonds with 58 facets. He begins to insert the tiny jewels. Each diamond varies slightly in size. He must find the hole with the best fit, while ensuring the height of all the diamonds creates an even surface. Steinman has created a new tool to help him set the diamonds. It creates the claws that will hold the diamonds in place. There is a depression 0.14 millimeters wide on the tip. If the tip is not sharp enough, it could crush the claws, so he sharpens it with extreme care. Gripping the tiny mounds of metal on the side of the hole with the tip, he bends them down to create the claws. Through the macro lens, it is clear the claws now secure the diamond in place. By the time he is done, there will be over 2,000. The assembly of the tourbillon begins. The cage. It is 10 millimeters wide and will house all the parts. First, each part is checked carefully to ensure there are no rough edges or defects. This part is just 3 millimeters wide. There are tiny holes in the end, the size of the tip of a needle. The watchmaker must insert a needle into each hole. The needles are just 0.8 of a millimeter thick. The hole is polished to ensure the needle won't get stuck. Next, the needles are inserted. The excess is trimmed. These 2 needles will hold the bridge of the spring in place. The surface is smoothed out. The part is complete.
Alors voilà le passage le plus difficile, ça a été de remonter la cage, de faire tous les ébats, les jeux de l'encre, les jeux de l'échappement, et tout ça comme un équilibriste, un funambule qui marche sur un fil, et sans filet, pas le droit à l'erreur, pas le droit de tomber.
The work that follows is incredibly delicate. A steady, constant gaze is critical. Prezioso bites down on the table to stabilize his head. The pieces fall together one by one. Maintaining patience and concentration is key. 5 hours have passed. The delicate parts can be damaged by the slightest pressure. There is no room for error. The driver slips. It has hit the escape wheel. It is a critical part that fits precisely with the anchor. Prezioso examines the parts. Could there be damage?
次はルビーの方ってことですか？
に当たる面積のところ。
The macro lens captures just what Prezioso is seeing. The area on the screen is actually a space just 1 millimeter tall and 2 millimeters wide. The escape wheel is not damaged and still fits with the anchor. Gears and shafts such as these must be perfectly aligned or inaccuracies will emerge. Once they're assembled, another week is spent making minor adjustments. The work that began in the early morning continues late into the night. Finally, the balance wheel is ready. The cage of the tourbillon is complete at last. Now the cage will be added to the body of the watch. The body of the Opus 2. This piece, aimed at combining ultimate beauty and complexity, is starting to take shape. The tourbillon is inserted. The delicate and complex tourbillon sometimes refuses to move once inside the watch. This can be caused by variances in the tightness of the screws or minor flaws in the assembly. Will it work? This is the moment of truth. Prezioso applies some pressure, and tourbillon begins to move. After holding his breath and concentrating on the parts for 12 hours, Prezioso has at last completed the tourbillon. The fair is less than 2 weeks away. His work continues day after day, late into the night. He has finally begun work on the assembly. The crown of the watch. This is the same part he thinned down 2 months ago using the tool made from a whale's whisker. As Dufour explains, the crown connects the watch to its owner. This is why he took so much care in shaping it to ensure it will last. The crown is the only part that links the internal mechanism of the watch to the outside world. Through simplicity, he is hoping to create a watch that will serve its owner for a lifetime, wound every day and never wearing out. This is the result of 3 months of carefully carving out and polishing each of the parts. The heart of the watch, the balance wheel. Once this wheel begins to move, the watch takes on a life of its own. The crown is wound, and the balance wheel begins to rotate. We've come to the workshop of independent watchmaker Antoine Prezuzio in the suburbs of Geneva. The Basel Fair is just 3 days away, and the work is in the home stretch. The team of watchmakers has gathered at the workshop.
Ils sont un peu brouillés, bizarres, non? Ouais, ouais.
Ça fait longtemps que je vois pas ça. Il faut arrêter le cognac un peu. Ça fait longtemps que je les vois.
Bon. Ça, on leur donne. OK.
Maintenant, les deux autres.
The rear cover and case for the Opus 2 has arrived.
C'est OK.
Où je prends les fonds, j'y apporte le contrôle.
Les tubes, c'est...
Non, les tubes, je les ai juste posés dedans.
Ouais,
pour,
t'as bien
je
fait.
l'ai même pas. Par contre, il restera toujours le truc que la vis passe juste dans la tête de vis là. C'est limite.
Jean-Pierre Scheller specializes in watch cases.
Je ne peux pas aller plus à l'intérieur parce qu'on est coincé avec la
Qu'elles deviennent jolies.
juste un petit filet. Ouais.
Juste un petit filet qu'elles s'ouvrent bien.
There is a problem with the rear cover.
Joli. Hein? Et puis, on augmente...
Prezuzio would like him to make the cover thinner to increase the fit and aesthetic appeal.
De baisser un
Mais là, tu le
maximum.
prends en fraisage.
The fair is now just 2 days away. At the studio of Antoine Prezuzio. What has become of the rear watch cover that required some adjustment? It has turned out well. Even so, Prezuzio adds his own finishing touches. The body for Opus 2 is also ready. The tourbillon that took so much concentration to complete has now been decorated and installed. On the reverse side is the 100-year perpetual calendar. The watch is proudly engraved with his name, Antoine Prezuzio. This is his second piece, Stardust Tourbillon. In an attempt to create the world's most beautiful watch, he joined with Steinman and his partner and pushed their skills to the limit. "2,052 of the world's smallest diamonds were applied by hand, one by one.
Ben, le souci, c'est que de casser quelque chose à la dernière minute, un accident de parcours, un dérapage avec un tournevis et puis abîmer un gravage ou des choses comme ça. Ça, c'est des gros soucis où ça demande beaucoup de concentration et de calme, même avant l'arrivée de balle, quoi.
Once the rear cover is secured, the watch is complete. It is marked as the first in an edition of one, proof there is only one in existence. He has created his own world that nobody else can duplicate. This is a moment of bliss that only the independent watchmaker can experience. The long winter is over, and a late spring has arrived in the Joux Valley, deep in the mountains. The snow has completely vanished. This is the home of watchmaker Philippe Dufour. His wife, Dominique, is preparing for the Basel Fair. She is sewing the curtains that will be used in the display case. With the fair only 2 days away, how has Dufour's work progressed? The case for his watch Simplicity is ready. The parts that Dufour carved from silver and patiently polished have been assembled. The watch is nearly complete. He adds the watch face. He is careful not to leave even the smallest speck of dust. April 4th. The world's largest exhibition of watches opens its doors. Buyers and media from around the world swarm into the exhibition hall. 2,195 watch manufacturers from 40 countries are gathered together in one location. The Independent Watchmakers exhibit is drawing much attention.
This one is Stardust. Yes.
There is 2,052 diamonds.
Journalists from Hong Kong are reporting on Prezioso's Stardust Tourbillon.
Diamonds, the smallest diamond of the world.
Portraying an image of stardust, the watch is covered in 2,052 diamonds. It is the only watch of its kind in the world.
How should I say? I have no comment on this, just great. I have no special comment. This is probably the best. I mean, even those big factories want to make a good tourbillon, they have to ask for their help. And very nice.
Something different.
Too complicated. You cannot understand how they do it.
Prezioso is also displaying one of his pieces as part of the exhibit of a long-standing manufacturer of luxury watches. Opus 2, the combination of ultimate beauty and complexity. The tourbillon, invented by genius watchmaker Breguet, was assembled manually by Prezioso himself. On the reverse side is the 100-year perpetual calendar. It is protected by the delicate rear cover. Journalists from around the world have gathered for a press conference. They have shown great interest in Prezioso's exceptional artistry and skill.
Sì, è l'incisione che fa un tipo, sì, sì.
Buyers have surrounded Dufour.
Lange is missing.
But you know what? We were at Patek, and
Simplicity has caught their attention.
you know, resigned.
With a simple form free of extraneous features, it is a watch an owner can keep for a lifetime and grow attached to. The design successfully communicates Dufour's philosophy.
It's the most beautiful, fantastic handmade watch in the world. The care, the love and care put into each one is incredible.
And I think to be able to know where it's come from, you know, and to know the individual who's made it, to know that he's there at the workbench doing the vast majority of the work. It's so nice to have a personalized product in this very mechanized world of mass production.
À votre santé. Santé.
Santé.
Santé.
Oui, c'est vrai.
Santé.
Santé.
Tous les intéressés à l'horlogerie, ils savent qu'on existe, qu'on est là. Donc, c'est là qu'ils doivent venir pour voir la créativité. Et c'est assez incroyable de penser le taux de créativité qu'il y a sur 70 mètres carrés. C'est extraordinaire. Et tout le monde le reconnaît, les gens de tous les pays qui viennent là, qui disent « c'est ici que ça se passe ». Voilà.
C'est fantastique de voir, de rencontrer des gens qui sont émerveillés sur mes créations, de voir aussi les créations des autres marques. Et puis tout cet ensemble m'apporte encore beaucoup d'idées, de créativité. Tout ce que j'ai envie aujourd'hui, c'est en fait de retourner à l'atelier pour pouvoir vite exprimer tout ce que j'ai dans la tête et pouvoir créer afin de contenter encore et faire découvrir ces créations dans la prochaine foire de Bâle.
The unique designs of the independent watchmakers reflect the personal philosophies and lifestyles of their creators. Filled with emotion impossible to reproduce through mass manufacturing, these watches carry with them the watchmaker's internal worries and struggles, as well as his passion and love. These tiny microcosms are packed with the watchmaker's hope that their creations bring us joy and fulfillment.